Hello and welcome. My name is Nate. This is the very first episode of Monday night reading of the Star Wars book. We're going to be doing this, I guess, every single Monday. I have the most Star Wars-y thing that I own. I think it looks like an Obi-Wan Kenobi cloak, and it's going to be close enough for me. This is just the book of Star Wars information of the entire galaxy, I guess is what you would say. The front cover just says expand your knowledge of a galaxy far, far away. So we're gonna get started. When you open it up, I actually love this front page that they have in here. It's just Kylo Ren, Star Wars. It's just I don't even know if this is just a normal old red, but it just looks different. It looks super cool. I'll see if I can get like a close up for you guys later. And the contributors for the authors, Pablo Hidalgo, Cole Horton, and Dan Zer. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Hopefully. And as we go through this book, just run through the contents real quick of what's in here. So it's starts off with the galaxy. I'm sure they're going to describe what the Star Wars galaxy is, yada, 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 all that good stuff. Then it's going to go into the science and the technology. It's going to go into the Force and what the Force is, who's with the Force, who's a teacher and a learner, yada, 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 all that different stuff. And then it's going to hit a whole section. Obviously, it's going to be on the Skywalkers. I mean, there's just so much Skywalker saga. So there's going to be a lot on the Skywalkers, the galactic governments and their dissidents. It's a good one. And galactic denizens, I think I want to say. And we're getting right into the intro. Again, that fantastic red. It just looks so good. That's a great, it's just a great red. Okay, so without further ado, we're getting into the introduction here. I'll see if I can get the words on the screen for you guys so you can take a look and be able to read along with me. So starting off, before I start actually, sorry, one more thing. I'm probably gonna make some of my own commentary. I've never read this book. This is the first time reading it for me. And I've seen a couple of the pages, I've seen flip through, but I've never taken an actual deep dive and read everything. So I'm gonna hopefully be making some sort of, I don't know if it'll be helpful content or commentary or questions as I'm reading it, but hopefully you guys enjoy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and start from the beginning. Okay. When Star Wars premiered in movie theaters on May 25th, 1977, no one, not even its creator, George Lucas, could have predicted the success it would become. So I already am gonna cut in, sorry, you can also hear Coda. But this is something we talked about yesterday, me and Noah. It's like, could you imagine going to the first Star Wars movie? And looking at it now, you're kind of like, wow, it's kind of cheesy and lame. But looking at it back then, I'm sure it was the coolest thing that's ever existed. All of that stuff that they were trying that was brand new, even from the screen roll, the opening credit roll with all the lettering, like that all had to be done and created. The things exploding in space, all that had to be created and wasn't done before, or if it wasn't done very well. And I think that's just so fascinating. And I could not have imagined going into that movie theater and then leaving that movie theater before and after of what, like, a whole new world and galaxy that existed. That I think is just incredible. It would have been great. Wish I could go back. But I know my dad, fun fact, he did see the movie, I think in the first week, and he said it was the coolest thing in the world, and everyone on the whole planet was talking about it. And I was like, that's incredible. So continuing on. Now, more than 40 years later, Star Wars has grown into a global phenomenon that transcends generations, borders, and mediums. What started as just one movie became 3 trilogies of films. It leapt from the screen onto the pages of books and comics, spawned both animated and live-action versions, or live-action television and web series, and inspired video games and theme parks. Collectively, they form a vast galaxy, rich in ever-expanding lore, unforgettable characters, and interconnected stories. Whether you're a newcomer or a long-life fan, within this book you'll explore many of the themes that make Star Wars so enduringly popular. I think that's definitely very true. I mean, if you look at, I'm gonna take this off. If you look at all of the different stuff in Star Wars, there's just every little thing has some sort of connection. I mean, even if we look at the new episodes of Mando, you're connecting all the way back to the beginning. I mean, and I really wish they would have used the line of, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. It's too soon. I'm not going to spoil this, but for those of you who know who I'm talking about in the show at the end, I would have wished they used that line when he's talking about his father. I just spoiled it probably there. But all of those things, all those connections, it's what makes Star Wars fun and fascinating and fun to talk about as you learn and you rewatch movies and shows and episodes and read the comics and the books and watch things on YouTube with people talking about it. Like, you learn a lot of other really small things, and you start to make your own connections almost. And I think that's part of the joy of being a Star Wars fan. I'll go ahead and continue. Every story has a beginning. The first film, known as at the time simply as Star Wars, was subsequently named Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. It introduced the world to a story of struggle at both a galactic scale and on a personal level. Drawing inspiration from human history, it pitted a brave rebellion against an evil empire. This epic confrontation intertwined with the personal trials and tribulations of the iconic heroes Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo. Together, they challenged the ruthless Darth Vader and his merciless army of stormtroopers. It threw audiences into a faraway galaxy filled with remarkable aliens, fanciful technology, and exotic planets. The California filmmaker, George Lucas, was seeking to reinvent the classic genre of space opera. Included are influenced by adventure stories in the Flash Gordon comics of the 1930s. I think that's super cool. Flash Gordon's awesome. Lucas infused his space fantasy with psychological and mythological motifs. Lucas drew from his appreciation of samurai films, westerns, and military history to create something that was wholly unique and stood out from its contemporaries. Science fiction of the 1970s was a reflection of the real world, cynical and grim, and the films were full of anti-heroes and terrible disasters. In contrast, Star Wars' message was hopeful, setting itself apart from many films of the era. This swashbuckling adventure showed that good could triumph over evil, and individuals have the power to change the fate of their galaxy. I think that sticks true to even stories today. I mean, it's one of those universal truths that the good can triumph over evil, and you see it in the world today. I mean, there is a lot of bad stuff out there, but there's a lot of good that I think is just more quiet. And that's one of the nice things about Star Wars is that the good is very loud and right in your face, and even though the Empire is this big forge and the New Order is this big force, all of that good slowly adding up over time is able to take it on and prevail. And of course you want to feel that the real world is like that too, and that's actually how the world works. And I think that's definitely just an interesting story for any story, I suppose, or I guess an interesting plot point for any story. All right, continuing on here. When Star Wars premiered in 32 US movie theaters in May of 1977, it was an instant commercial success and one of the first blockbuster films. May the Force Be With You worked its way into everyday vocabulary, and its stars Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford became household names. Being the highest grossing movie of all time at that point ensured the first Star Wars film wouldn't be the last. The sequel, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, this was in 1980, talk about one of the best movies ever made. I mean, I know Noah loves this one too. Introduced audiences to new worlds and shocked them with the revelation that Darth Vader was in fact Luke Skywalker's father. It delved deeper into the Force, a mysterious energy that permeates the fictional galaxy. Determined to retain control of the world he had created, Lucas personally financed the big budget sequel, increased external creative input, and a set count almost twice the size of New Hope made The Empire Strikes Back significantly larger and more costly to produce. But it was a gamble that paid off in spades. The film achieved critical and commercial success. 3 years later, in 1983, the saga continued with the release of Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, which saw the epic climax of the struggle between the Rebellion and the Empire. It was the final chapter of the original trilogy and left audiences waiting 16 years for the next film installment. That's a long time to be sitting there. And you wonder why the prequels are just, visually at least in CGI, are just so much better. I mean, it's 16 whole years they got to wait. I think that's fantastic. That I love that they waited that long actually to be able to make the film they wanted to make. Sure, there's bad parts, sure, there's great parts, but I'm almost happier that they waited. And me as a child got to enjoy some of the new stuff, and it was new to me. And I remember getting to go to the Clone War, or Attack of the Clones, and getting to go see Revenge of the Sith and all these when it was new and it was exciting. And I loved that experience as a child. I felt like my dad got to experience as a child, I got to experience as a child, and now this younger generation I don't quite have kids yet, but they're getting to experience it as a child as well, and hopefully someday, I mean, my kids will experience it as a child. I think that'd be really cool to be able to share this with them and have it be kind of a generational story, like as they say, you know. So continuing on, movie magic. Star Wars didn't just reinvent a genre, it changed the ways movies are made. To bring his vision to life, George Lucas needed visual effects unlike any that had come before, requiring the invention of new technology. That task fell to his new special effects company, Industrial Light and Magic. A young team of mavericks were tasked with creating the film's revolutionary visual effects, including the construction of a motion-controlled camera system that was vital in creating the film's dynamic starship shots and dogfights. Model makers painstakingly crafted vehicles and space stations with amazing detail, using classic techniques on a massive scale. The result was a film unlike any seen before, leaving audiences astonished and laying the foundations for the decades of innovation that followed. ILM was at the forefront of bringing increasingly advanced digital capabilities to the entertainment industry. Lucas and his team pioneered pre-visualization technologies that gave filmmakers the ability to craft their movies before cameras even started rolling. They used computer animation to bring characters and creatures to life, a feat that would have been impossible with practical effects alone. More than 40 years after its founding, ILM continues to push the boundaries of storytelling, creating award-winning visual effects and pioneering innovations that wow audiences today. And there's some quotes in here that I'll read. They just pop up occasionally. This one's from George Lucas. I wanted to take ancient mythological motifs and update them. I wanted to have something totally free and fun in the way I remembered space fantasy. And then the next one's Steven Spielberg. I had never experienced special effects that were so real. And I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff in Star Wars, the parts that are dated now that you can kind of see. But I mean, at the time, would have been mind-blowing. I remember even watching Revenge of the Sith and being blown away that everything in there. You watch it now and you're kind of like, oh, it still carries great and it looks fantastic, but there are those pieces where you're like, I wish they had a couple 10 more years to be able to perfect that. But it is incredible, honestly. I'm not going to lie. And so much of it comes from George, I think, is his passion for the films and his desire to make them the best that they possibly can be. I think that's a cool thing. Sorry if you're watching this on video. I'm going to hit the button here. Okay. And continuing on, the universe expands. Star Wars was not only a revolutionary film, it practically invented the licensed merchandise industry that we know today. Audiences couldn't get enough of Star Wars, but thanks to thoughtful merchandising, they were able to take home a bit of the world's most famous galaxy. Action figures were among the many products introduced, helping kids and adults alike recreate their favorite scenes from the movie at home. The success of the merchandise fueled future Star Wars projects and allowed George Lucas to remain independent from the major Hollywood studios. Before the first film even reached movie theaters, Lucas's screenplay was adapted into a Star Wars novel, and Marvel purchased a line of comics featuring characters and storylines from the films. Hundreds of novels and comics have followed, allowing fans to explore a wider galaxy with new people, creatures, places, and events. In the years that followed, audiences could actively explore the galaxy thanks to many video and laptop games available. All of these additional storytelling mediums helped fans stay connected to the galaxy, even when films were few and far between. I think I'm going to probably stop there for today. Actually, you know what? It's only been 13 minutes. We're going to continue on. Why not? Return of the Force. After a 16-year hiatus of Star Wars films, George Lucas kicked off a new triumvirate of... I probably blew that one. Of prequels to the original trilogy, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, explored the origins of Obi-Wan Kenobi and revealed how the Republic mentioned in A New Hope became the Empire. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, focused on the continuing unrest throughout the galaxy and followed Anakin Skywalker on his journey from pod racing prodigy to eventually turning his back on the light side of the Force and becoming Darth Vader. But these films still left plenty of untold war stories, leading to the development of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, which aired from 2008 to 2020. With its high production value and a willingness to explore a variety of themes, the animated series gave viewers a look into the human side of the war while providing new insights into the power of the Force. A new generation of heroes. After more than 40 years leading the company he founded, in 2012, George Lucas announced his retirement and that Star Wars would become part of the Walt Disney Company. With longtime producer Kathleen Kennedy now at the helm of Lucasfilm, Star Wars expanded more than it ever had before. Production began on a new trilogy, beginning with Episode 7, The Force Awakens, followed by Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. These new films saw classic characters pass the torch to a new generation of heroes, Rey, Finn, and Poe. New villains, including General Hux, Kylo Ren, and Supreme Leader Snoke, also arose, aiming to thwart the resistance. For the first time, Lucasfilm also branched out into standalone Star Wars projects. Rogue One, probably my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, brought to life the Rebel mission to steal the Death Star plans, an event first mentioned in A New Hope in 1977. Sorry, that should have been just one sentence. Solo explored the origins of Han Solo and his co-pilot Chewbacca as they make their famed Kessel Run, also referenced in the original film. The first live-action TV series, The Mandalorian, premiered in 2019, telling the story of an enigmatic bounty hunter and his ward, a baby of Yoda's species, simply known as the Child. Both characters immediately became fan favorites. Shout out Grogu. Lucasfilm also continued to make animated. I also said that so weird. Grogu. I said like Grogu. Lucasfilm also continued to make animated series, introducing fans to new characters and further expanding the galaxy. Star Wars Rebels, please watch if you haven't, took place after the fall of the Jedi Order. It followed a group of rebels that formed an early incarnation of the Rebel Alliance. Star Wars Resistance gave insights into events leading up to The Force Awakens, including the growing power of the First Order. How to use this book. This is going to be an important part. I'll probably take this and have it cut as a separate thing for anybody else moving forward. I don't know if anyone's actually going to listen to this, but just in case. So how to use this book. The Star Wars book provides an in-depth look at the most important themes that weave through the ongoing Star Wars saga. You'll find insights into the key characters, their relationships, and their motivations while developing an understanding of the galaxy's many factions and governments. To illustrate how things fit together, timelines and topic boxes provide greater detail. The dating system adopted in the timelines indicates how many standard years before or after Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, an event occurs in the galaxy. And this will be denoted by BSW4 or ASW4. So before Star Wars Episode 4 or after Star Wars Episode 4. I'll make sure that I'll see if I can have a tally up here for you guys so you can have an idea of where we're at as we're going through the book. I think that might be helpful. And continuing on, the Star Wars book guides new fans through the most important elements of the galaxy, illustrating how characters and events connect. For longtime fans, it offers a new perspective on the franchise they know and love, and a few surprises not found anywhere else. And next time, we will begin with the galaxy. I know I did miss something. I knew it. Okay, so I missed connected stories here. This is a little blurb at the end. I'll probably cut off after this. But it says Star Wars is recognized for its adoption of a single continuous storyline. Creator George Lucas always considered episodes 1 through 6 and the series The Clone Wars to be the official lore. The expanded universe of books, comics, and games created between 1977 and 2013 now fall under the Legends banner, distinguishing them from the stories that followed. While a rich source of inspiration, the events found within them are considered to be outside of the authentic timeline. As Lucasfilm ramped up for a new era of production in 2012, all media except the movies and the Clone Wars TV series came under the Legends banner. Since 2014, the stories told across mediums are added to the official Star Wars mythology, forming one connected plot line in a shared galaxy. Lucasfilm custodians ensure that the film's animated series, books, comics, games, and even emerging mediums such as virtual reality, and theme parks share the same galaxy coherently. So as we go throughout this, I'll let you guys know. I don't think there'll be anything that is Legends material. If there is, I'll make sure to denote whether it's Legends or whether it's actually canon for you guys. And anytime that we're going to be discussing different videos or other things and talking about in the podcast, we'll try to discern Legends between canon. We might mix it up when we're not pros. I do hope this is something that you guys enjoy. I like just reading it. That was fascinating to me. I'm excited to read more and make more episodes. But for right now, I think I'm going to cut it off there. And I will see you guys next week. That's going to be cheesy. Now I'm going to think of like something cheesy to say. I was just going to say, may the force be with you. I actually might just say, may the force be with you.